Hello everyone, welcome to JI Insights. So this is the first video where we are bringing the Nifty and Bank Nifty, analysis and prediction. So we thought I think it's very important to bring the right information and how this information should be perceived by the retail and high value investors, right? So I'm going to give you an analysis of how the week could be potentially according to our perspective. Of course, this analysis and forecast that I would be sharing with you is only for education purposes. Any kind of investment decision that you would like to make should be purely from your end, and you should be contacting a financial advisor who is well informed before making any investment choice, right? So before going into the discussion, it's very important to understand what is the market sentiment. And market sentiment is actually determined uh, in near term and midterm by the market news, what is going around, right? So I've compiled some news for you, right? So one of these news that is very important came out on, I think, late Friday evening, was about the federal annual Jackson conference, right? So the federal chair, Jerome Powell, he actually, made a speech that, gradually there would be interest rate cuts and the risk has actually shifted. So this is like what inverted commas open and closed has been quoted in various news channels. This is actually taken very positively by the markets. I think it's just a short term, bull rally, or it will be a very short term lived, or it could be a bull trap as well. Because if you see the things around you, right? Uh, Even like I would say that even the Fed chair has not given a timeline. Like he said, eventually it will be reduced, right? So they have not per se said like September would be, and they have also made a mention that they will go through all the data, right, which is like related to jobs, right, related to inflation numbers that will be coming in September, right? So there will be a lot of data that will be involved before this kind of decision could ever be made, right? But yes, this is a step in the right direction, I would say. But it could be a short-term rally because of the other factors which are prevalent right now. So we'll be discussing that. While Fed chair made his comment, and you might be coming across those comments from different YouTube channels and uh, uh, news, right? What does other central banks look have their view upon this kind of update from the US Fed chair, right? So the Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey, he's mentioned that the inflation risks are decreasing, hinting at possible future rate cuts. So they are aligned, right? Even Central European Bank is also, in favor of doing another rate cut. Of course, they have already done a rate cut, uh, and then of course. There is like the other Fed officials, right? They have suggested that the rate cut should be gradual and advocating a steady approach to lowering rate, right? So basically, the theme is that the news from US and internationally is that there is a need for the rate cuts to happen gradually because these rate cuts actually gra directly and positively impact the low income class individuals. So it's very important that we do this, right? But they have not mentioned whether it has to be September, right? It will be reviewed in September on basis on different data sets that will be looking like. But if there is an abnormality in any of the data, then of course this will be a big setback to the bull rally that is happening in the US and potentially in India too. But this is my perspective that this could be something which is like short term, right? So while everyone is looking for a rally, I think it's time to be cautious at this point of time. Okay, so let's move on to the uh, okay, so this slide which I have, just to add one more comment to it, uh, the US inflation is not under 2% mark, right, which is the mandate for US Fed, right? Now, it is currently 2.9. Would it touch below 2 in September? The answer is no. So this is one other perspective that I believe the rate cut may not happen in September, which could be a setback to market sentiment in, in the medium term, or, to the markets, right? So this is something that we should keep in, note. Now, from an India perspective, our 2% mark is actually way higher, right? So we are in 3.4, right? While we will follow suit from the US market, but I think it will take 2, 3 months for India to reduce the, inflation rate once it is under the range of 2%, right? Now, would they want to do it, without getting to the 2 percentage? I think there's a high chance they would not do, because there are a lot of prevalent conditions that we'll be seeing. Like, so there are a lot of, wars, like Russia, Ukraine conflict, Israel, Iran, conflict, Israel, Hezbollah war. So there is a lot of chaos that is going on internationally at this point of time. So I also came across the Mpox, right, which is like a big potential health emergency that has been declared. So these are some examples that to the inflation reaching that 2% mark. So I think the Fed chair and the RBI will be cautious, right, while decreasing this, so that it should not be a, instance that they will have to, again increase the, rates just because, they took a decision in a little hurry, right? So I think they will maintain their cautiousness while taking this decision, and this is why I wanted to show you this data. Moving forward, so for this week, definitely, that we have seen the news, that we have a positive outlook on Nifty, and uh, we can have a gap up for sure, and the range would be 24,900 to 25,100 range, and from there, I think we need to be cautious, because the sellers are will try to bring the market down for this. Now, I think this was the last news in the near term that we were looking out, right? From a positive standpoint, major news basically coming from the US Fed chair, right, before September. Now, it might be a thing that once we see a rally from here, there the bulls, may not be able to continue that rally after this, like for 1 or 2 days, and the sellers will try to bring down the market from its, you know, original bottom, right, from 24,000 mark. Now, there is another news that we need to be cautious about is the Israel-Lebanon war, right? So the local group Hezbollah is attacking Israel, and Israel has also retaliated it with bombarding them, right? So there is a major mobilization that is occurring now. This is something which is also, we would say, the would drift the market sentiment into red, because the crude oil will definitely blast, right? So it's already 74.96, right, as I see, right, over the weekend. Now, this has a potential of moving more upside, right, into 75 or 76 per barrel. So we need to be cautious here, because this is the, once there is a gap up, definitely, these are some factors that will try to, push the market, down. right? So need to be cautious about this. So there is another news that we are getting from the Nifty and Bank Nifty standpoint, that there will be a balancing that will be done in September, right? Which means in Nifty 50, there will be two stocks, Divi's Lab and L&T Infotech and Mindtree will be exiting Nifty 50, and they will be replaced by Bharat Electronic Limited and Tata Trent Limited as Nifty 50, right? So now I think I would say this is something which we'll have to look out for, right? Because as per me, there are two, like pharma company and an IT company, that will be exiting the Nifty 50, and a government and a Tata stock will replace it. So now I think we see a number of Tata stocks already in Nifty 50, and right? I hope you know that government stocks, of course, this stock has been doing great, right, in the near term and mid-term, but it has to perform, continue to perform in the same way in the mid and long term to remain in Nifty 50, right? So, now as you see, once this stock Bell and Tata Trent replacing, right, Divis Lab and L&T Infotech and Mentry, there'll be a huge inflow of funds into these two stocks, right? It won't mean that, Divis Lab and L&T and Mindtree will, see outflow of funds, but of course, the focus will be in Bharat Electronics Limited and Tata Trent. So, this is another news. Bank Nifty also we'll see Bandhan Bank will be replaced by Canara Bank. So I would say this is kind of an indecisive market sentiment. We'll have to wait and watch. I think Canara Bank is a very old bank. It's a government bank. It has a lot of good market capitalization after PNB. So I think it's a step in the right direction. But going forward, I think there was another news. I think on by the Union Cabinet has approved Union Pension Scheme for government employees. Now, I have given a quick gist for our viewers to read the specification about these, the Unified Pension Scheme. But this is also kind of, negative, I would say, because it's going to put additional pressure on the union government's budget, right? So NPS, of course, for government employees, the government will be contributing and the employees will be contributing, right, in NPS new pension scheme or the own pension scheme, right? But now the unified pension scheme for government employee ensures that 50% of their basic pay from the last 12 months before retirement, if they have served for 25 years, the pension is proportional for those with 10 to 24 years of service, right? So I believe this is going to bring more, stress to the, budget of the central government. And as you can see, I mean, we have a lot of like central government, and this is also something which will put, the state governments also into spot, right? So for state government employees also, the state governments will be responsible to bringing up such a scheme, right? So this is an additional budget and additional, I would say, OpEx that uh, that will be there, right? Of course, this is a kind of a choice, but if this is something which is bringing more certainty to central government employees and state government employees, definitely people are going to select this, right? So I think it's kind of bringing more, you know stress to the union budget, right? The next news, I think, which I wanted to share was the Goldman Sachs Bank has actually reduced the, GDP growth forecast for India in 24 and 25. So this is kind of another news which is not very positive, which came over the weekend, and I've put some screenshots for you to know that. I think the one of the key reasons, and I've mentioned the key reasons here right there for you to read it, right? So government plans to reduce the fiscal budget, right? Fiscal deficit, sorry, fiscal deficit bill, and they want to bring it down under 4.5 of the GDP, right? So this is really going to impact the GDP for during this period. And I think this is a good step in the right direction because fiscal deficit is something which needs to be maintained also. So, but this will actually directly impact our GDP growth for forecast and for during this period, right? Um, so this is one uh, thing which I wanted to mention. Uh, Now, I think we can go ahead and talk about the Nifty levels for this week and for Monday. Uh, but just a quick info, I wanted to share. So there are like have provided you towards my right side, the stocks that should be, that you should be monitoring, right? Whether these stocks are, in red or in green, right? So if you see the Nifty 50 weightage currently is being determined by these stocks. These eight stocks constitute 50, at least 50% of Nifty 50, right? So if these stocks are in green or red or they are balanced, so which will actually help you to determine whether there will be a bull run or whether there will be a you know uh, upside movement or a downside movement in the Nifty, right? So please, if so, I mean, if Reliance is moving, to higher side, right, and HDFC is moving the downside because we'll come to that, to the banks. So here, right here, you can see in banks, there is an issue going on that they don't have proper deposits, right? This is also a latest issue which I think the investor community is well aware of, right? So definitely the banks are going to face selling pressure because the results are not there, right? They have to eventually increase the fixed deposit rates, right? For attracting more deposit into their bank, which is going to directly impact the margins, right? Their operating margins are going to increase, which is going to reduce their result outcomes, right? Profits, which will directly determine the the stock price. So I think there will be a re-rating for the banking sector, right? Because of this, because all of the money is going, is being moved from the FDs and bank towards the stock market. So there will be a re-rating. Now, uh, is would that mean that it will impact banking sector? It will impact banking sector because I think the investors are getting more transparent, are getting more transparent news, they're getting more transparent updates, and they're understanding the way stock markets behave, right? And the stocks and the fundamentals. Now my channel here is also trying to do this thing where we try to bring the most accurate and transparency for the investors to look in, like the market sentiment, what should be your mindset and ideology. This is just for education perspective, but it's very important that we understand that why a retail investor should be investing in banking sector if there is no return on investment that you'll be seeing in medium term, right? uh, so there is a deposit crunch that is happening right now. Will there be a course correction? Yes, of course there'll be a course correction. Will it be will we see some respite or risk getting lowered in near term? The answer would be no, right? Because I think the banks will be creating some products, right, according to deposits are not coming. They will be planning for a fixed deposit hike. I think this is already happening now. I mean, I think the RBI and SEBI and the banks will create out a strategy to make sure the investors are rerouting the money back to the bank, right? So, but I think this will take some, months to happen. And meanwhile, I think there'll be selling pressure on the banks. But would this mean that Nifty will be impacted? I think the answer is no. I think Nifty will have potential to move upside because there'll be a lot of other sectors where the investors can see value in, investing. Like for example, the pharma sector has not been running for a long time. So I think, and with mpox, disease or infection into the play, I think there'll be a lot of pharma companies that will be benefiting while making vaccination for it. So there is a lot of opportunity to invest in pharma sector. There is a lot of opportunity for them to invest in the sector, right? Which is, I think, which will see a lot of the stock price will see a lot of upside in that because of the US interest rate cuts already, right? So there are other sectors that will benefit. I think the banking sector is something that we need to be cautious about. But nevertheless, I think these are the Nifty 50 weightage I wanted to share with you to ensure that you are able to understand the overall Nifty, trend, right, when the market opens tomorrow. All right. So again, in Bank Nifty, I think you need to be very cautious about HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, and Axis Bank. So if you see 50% of Bank Nifty is made up of HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, and Axis Bank. So if HDFC Bank is in uptrend and ICICI Bank is in, is downside, for example, so you can see, I think there'll be, the Bank Nifty will be running flat, right? So it will be moving in range. But if you see both of these stocks are in green, then this Bank Nifty will go, will be a gap up, right? If both of these stocks are in red, then there will be a potential your gap down, right? Now, this is something that you should be knowing, right? That HDFC and ICICI Bank, if they, are two major stocks in, Bank Nifty by weightage. Now, if one of them is in upside and one of them is on downside, and because of this, the Bank Nifty is in range. So now, if there has to be a breakout, then the investors would, or the institution investor would like might investing in Axis Bank to make sure there is a breakout in either of the directions, right? So this is something that we need to be careful and we need to be knowing all this, right, before jumping into the market. So I think this is very important information going into the levels for tomorrow. And for this week, like I mentioned that, and from the like market news that we have, uh, definitely there will be a gap up tomorrow. It can go in 25,000 mark, but as you see that the Nifty has been moving in the range of 24,800, right? Sorry, 24,850 to 24,800, 780. If you see the Bank Nifty for 1 week has been moving in range, right? Now, there will be a gap up, but would there be a bull rally? So I think this bull rally will be very short term lived, and there will be kind of a pressure, right, in the market, and the sellers will be trying to bring the market down, right, because of the market news that I have just shared, right. Now, there is another thing that you should be careful about is that there is a lot of retail money that is coming into the market, and retailers are investing money. Maybe they're just, I mean, because there has been a lot of good returns from mutual funds, maybe uh, like 8%. So it is very, so there is a kind of a ideology that okay, we keep on investing and we keep on getting the returns. So I think we need to be cautious, right? This is for the retailers. We need to be cautious that where is the value, and mostly the DIS have been someone who do value investing, right? But I think we are seeing this as an opposite trend that we are not able to get the there is a lot of money pouring in, so DIs are also confused that should they be putting investing money at such a high level. So it's very important that for the retailers to be careful here that the market news and the quality of the stocks, and if the stocks are that we are investing, is it like having the intrinsic value, is this value investing, or are you buying something which is on like very high valuations, right? So my belief is that I think the um, Nifty will gap up and it might also have a short-term bull rally, right? But eventually the market will come down, right? There could be a bull rally in this week also, right? But eventually the market will come down from 25,000 mark. We will see that selling happening. I think we'll see the selling happening from September onwards in Nifty 50, right? Uh, but on the other side, if in case, because there was a, big confrontation with Israel and Lebanon today, right? So I think the crude oil will be blasting, right? So I think the crude oil rail will definitely go into 75, right? So it's there could be a immediate, retracement, right, from the higher levels. So the strong support for Nifty is 24,783 and 24,700 in the current, right? If these levels are broken, then Nifty can also see 724,000 mark, right? So we need to be careful here, right? But overall sentiment for Nifty 50 is, positive according to us. Now going into big Bank Nifty, right? So Bank Nifty, like I've like showed in my screenshot, for most of the August, if you see the Bank Nifty has moved in a range, right? So it was at 51,900 mark, then it fell from that level to 49,600. Of course, there was news dominating it, but after that, if you see like from 5th August or 6th August, there has been the Bank Nifty has been pretty much in range from 5th August to 14th, right? And now from 14th, the I think the gap has not been filled, but it could be filled tomorrow, right? There could be a high potential for a gap up, right? And because of this gap up, the Bank Nifty would be, kind of completing the gap. But as told you that there would be a very high selling. If you see the Bank Nifty is is bearish, I would say, as compared to the Nifty, right? If you see the chart from Nifty to Bank Nifty, and banks not enjoying that kind of results, right? The results have been really bad. They don't have good deposits into in the bank, right? They have not been able to grow their deposit, and which is going to directly impact their margins eventually, is why the banks are under pressure, and there is I think it's kind of a bearish but momentum here. So even if there is a gap up tomorrow, right, the Bank Nifty will definitely come down. I think there will be a lot of selling pressure, and as a result of this, I mean, we'll see the Bank Nifty can go to 5,000, 50,000 mark levels as well, right? So we need to be very cautious here in Bank Nifty, and as I said, let's you know keep HDFC and ICICI Bank in focus about whether they're in upside or downside. Well, this is this is the week. I mean, I think this is the last week for the month, and there'll be stock options expiry. I think usually during the last week the India VIX is actually high, and we see the India VIX is currently high, right? It was 14, but it reduces by some points into 13.5. But I think there's a high probability that the India VIX will increase during the last week, and we'll see some momentum from an India VIX perspective. So, guys, this is pretty much it from my side. Please do like and subscribe and share my video if you like our analysis, and do let me know uh, what is your perspective. Would we see a bull rally, or would we see would we see uh, a gap up and a bull rally happening, or would we see a bull rally but get bulls eventually getting trapped, or would we see something like a gap down, right? Or what would be your sentiment or your views about this week trend. So do post your comments, and do like and subscribe and share my video, and I'll see you the next time.